Hey there everybody, thanks for watching our 15th Appalachian Trail video. In this video we go from Bland to Harrisburg, Virginia, and then we slack pack another 40 miles north of that for a total of 86 miles. We decided to make the first day a pretty easy one, and we hiked a total of about 3 miles to the first shelter, which was the Helvey Mill shelter. After enjoying some time just sitting around the fire, we walked around the corner to find this guy climbing up the shelter wall. A little while later, Micah got out of the tent and found the same snake eating an egg just feet away from the tent. The next day we decided to push a little bit further, made it about 9.7 miles before we stopped at Jenny Knob Shelter. On the way we passed the 600-mile mark of the trail. We had seen that rain was in the forecast for the night, so when we made it to the shelter, we decided not to put up the tent and just camp in the shelter for the night. And it's a good thing we did. It started raining that afternoon and rained throughout the night. As we were hiking the next day, we came across this suspension bridge, and we had seen on our app that there were supposed to be hornets at the end of the bridge, so we were walking very carefully. And as you can see, I let Micah go first. Luckily, we made it across without disturbing them. Nine miles down the trail, we stopped at this campsite right alongside Dismal Creek. We got a chance to rinse all the sweat off of us in the creek, watch some ants fight, and smoke our socks by the fire. We knew after leaving the creek, water was going to get pretty scarce, so we had to be pretty mindful about where we stopped for the night and when we filled up with water. We knew there was going to be a pond and a good water source at the next shelter, which was the Wapiti shelter, so we planned to stay there for the night after about 6 miles. It was a nice shelter with plenty of camping spots around to pitch a tent. But this shelter has a disturbing history on the Appalachian Trail. When we left camp the next morning, we filled up with water, planning on making it to the Doc's Knob shelter, which is about 10 miles away, and was the next known water source. Just saw a bear run across the trail out there somewhere. After having our 8th bear encounter on this trip, found a nice little place off a side trail to have lunch. Unfortunately, when we got to the Doc's Knob shelter, we found out there was no water there. The next water source was 6 miles north. So instead of camping that night with no water, we decided to hike the extra 6 miles that day for a total of a 16-mile day. After passing a few dry creeks along the way, we finally got to the spring that we were told was going to have water. Thankfully it did. It was a small pool that we were able to get enough water out of, and there were a few campsites nearby where we could pitch our tent. The next day we had a 3-mile hike down the mountain and into the town of Parisburg. After finding some food to eat, we made our way to the Plaza Motel, which was a great place to stay. Nice clean rooms and very affordable. And the wonderful lady at the front desk even did our laundry for us. We enjoyed the town and the little motel that we stayed at so much that we decided to stay some extra days. It also had something to do with the water situation being so bad on the trail. We decided it would be better to do some slack packing. So we contacted a person at the Angel's Rest hostel, and she was able to slack pack us for 2 20-mile days for a total of just over 40 miles. We did the tougher of the 2 20-mile days first because we were rested up after taking a 0, and we figured the easier of the 20-mile days would be best to do second. So the first day was from Peters Mountain trailhead to the town of Newport, Virginia, for a total of 20.7 miles. The creek still had water when we started out the day, but as the day went on, the water sources were drying up. This place is called Wind Rock. It was very windy there, but a good place to eat lunch. After almost 10 miles of not seeing water, we came to the War Spur shelter, which had a little creek where we could get some water from. The last mile or so of the day was through Beautiful little pasture. We finally made it to the road where we were going to be picked up, and we had our driver drop us off at Dairy Queen, of course. After showers and a good night's sleep, the next day we headed back to Peters Mountain to get dropped off again, and this time head south back to the town of Pearisburg. Just saw two bears running. Took off in different directions. There's what, 9 and 10? Bears number 9 and 10. This section of the trail was in terrible condition. It was very overgrown with a whole bunch of weeds that had a bunch of thorns on them. Our arms and legs were all pretty scraped up by the end of the day. And even when we were going through the trail and it wasn't overgrown, we still had to look out for ticks. I ended up probably pulling off a dozen of them off of me that day. The trail was also overgrown with blackberries and black raspberries, whatever these things are. We ate a bunch of them. The last few miles of the trail that day were through town, trying to get back to Cross Avenue where we had gotten off to start a few days earlier. Finally made it back to town, had another good night's sleep, and next day took another 0 and went and saw the downtown area of Pearisburg and ate at the Happy Hog. Thanks for tuning in to this video of our Appalachian Trail journey. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to this video so you can get all the updates on our adventures. Thanks for watching.